Three, two, one, and hello, everybody. This is Sam. Welcome back to the Mouse Madness podcast. Joined today by Randy and Brandon. Today's topic is Mike Judge, the works of Mike Judge. So we decided to kind of flip the script here in that format-wise, and we went for a themed episode this week. And like I alluded to, the theme is Mike Judge. So while he's done plenty of stuff, we decided to focus in on a couple of his movies and a couple of his TV shows, which we will be getting into here shortly. Randy, take it away.
Yeah, so starting off, I think we're going to talk about Beavis and Butthead, just for the simple fact that this is the legendary TV show he started back in '93. It's one of those TV shows that I grew up with as a kid, and I remember I could never really watch it because my parents was always so, protective and saying this was one of those shows that were just, for adults. And it kind of made one of those shows that are forbidden to watch, so I'd sneak off and watch it when my parents weren't around. So I just remember always watching the show when I was a kid, and it would be really raunchy and but funny at the same time. And it'd be one of those things I want to tell my friends, oh my god, I got to watch this weekend, and they'd be all hyped up about it and stuff when we're at school, oh my god, you got to watch this show, little kid talk, but still it's there's cussing and
That's what's weird about it. It's kind of it sits on the fence where it's some of the humor is really immature and stupid, I'm Cornholio shit,
Yeah.
But on the other side, you have you were saying the more adult shit. So it's I don't know. I think both sides could enjoy it, but yeah, the younger side, it was kind of, I guess, didn't have the same ability to watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of he was
I don't even remember watching it when it first came out. I don't remember it being
because we're dipping back here, guys. I don't know on the exact time frame, but I'm thinking early 90s. It's I was a little kid, so it's a stretch. But I mean, the memory still sticks with me. The first time watching it, and not realizing what it was, and my mom came home. I think me and my brother were watching it. My mom came home, and it was just I don't think she knew what it was either until literally it was on for a minute, and in that minute it was so raunchy. She's "What are you watching? Turn that off." And it was just so. She took a hardline stance at first, but it was just I don't know. There were so many times she was gone that it was just we were able to just slip in episodes here and there, and yeah, no, yeah, when you were younger, yeah, you definitely appreciate the potty. The fart kind of humor that they had. But no, man, Mike Judge, I would say there's multiple layers to this. You have your base layer of raunch, but I feel there is just another layer there.
I think it's a great time capsule show where it's not even just because of the music that they show in the show, obviously, when they're making fun of it, but just the way they act, the way they look, the way the neighborhood looked at the time,
Yeah.
They got metal shirts on. They're going to a fast food place. And
well, it's cool because around that era, metal grunge was huge. So
MTV was huge, and this was on MTV, and right. I know. Being a kid and not being familiar with a lot of that music, being I would actually get kind of pissed when they played the music videos. It's get back to the cartoon.
Yeah. I totally forgot that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I totally forgot when they would show an episode or a clip for a couple minutes, then it would go off to a music video, and they would they'd be making noises in the background they're reviewing a MTV music video.
Yeah, they were commenting on the video.
Yeah, it did get more relatable throughout the 90s, when you were familiar with the music. Because I remember I've seen clips of the earlier episodes where they're talking about videos that were from late 80s, and stuff that I definitely wouldn't have been privy to in my early childhood.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it was cool.
It was great how they made fun of the videos.
Yeah, I always remember laughing at some of this funny. It's kind of like the Mystery Science Fiction Theater, whatever that show is. They're reviewing the movie during it was going on.
Okay, this might be I might be misremembering, but I swear to you, there was an episode where they were watching the safety dance.
Yeah, I
and
think
they
so,
like
yeah.
roasted it or turned it. It was so
No,
bad.
I know they did Spin Me Around. I think they did the Safety Dance too. I don't. It was one of the two.
But it
They
was
might have done
always
both.
so funny though, because yeah, they were metalheads, and it was just like, they were always rocking out with the metal songs, but then they'd play some of that kind of
Some Milli Vanilli.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Milli.
they'd throw something like that in, and then just roast
They'd
it.
be like, "What is this gay shit?" Like they'd say
Yeah.
something like that. No, but I just remember like watching it, and now like you guys said, like when you're a kid, it was kind of hard to interpret when you're a kid. Like you barely know what's going on in TV shows and stuff. You're just entertained by it. But as you got older and kind of watched it, you got the more gist of what's going on. Like they're shitheads. They don't like going to school. They don't like authority. They don't like their teacher. They fuck with their principal.
Well, I could only imagine, had this been the heyday growing up in, like if I was in high school and that show came out, how much more appreciative I would have been of it. Because, like, seriously, like, I had to have been in grade school at the time that when it first came out.
Yeah, I remember going to my friend Steve's house, and he had an older brother, which was around my sister's age, and they would always be watching it, and they'd always be like commenting, like quoting the show, kind of like we would do nowadays for other shows. And it was just kind of like, I didn't know anything really about it, but that was always the place I had to go to actually watch it, because his mom and dad let us do whatever the hell we wanted up there, so we'd always got away with watching the show. So I always remember like a lot of my episodes of watching it at early childhood was at a friend's house, which was just funny.
I like the one of the plot keywords is fart joke
Right.
on the IMDb page. Yeah, and it does blend in. I guess we could talk about the movie as well. I mean, pretty much the same thing, but they kind of
Yeah.
like go on an adventure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember like watching the movie, and I'm pretty sure like I don't know if they're touring around like following a band, or I can't remember exactly the whole.
Oh, okay, so real quick, it was their TV got stolen.
That's right, TV
so
got stolen.
they are like they're starting an adventure looking for their TV, and then they come across some hotel room that I think that they just walked into.
Don't they hop on a bus?
Hold on, that's later. So
Is
it
it?
ends up being like, okay, so the main, I guess, because I know in the movie, like, do you remember the guy that was like convincing him to like do his wife?
Yeah, do his wife.
That was Bruce Willis, and the wife was Demi Moore, and they were married at the time. If you guys,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, and it was so funny. So, anyways, yeah, like, because remember they got mixed up, and then the guy thought that they were the hitmen. That's why
That's
they're
right.
like, "Yeah, you gonna do my wife?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do your wife."
Yeah, we'll do your wife.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
then
that.
they just end up going across America on the bus with
So-
the old people.
Yeah, they go to the White House.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they mistake him as like the murderer smuggler people, from what I remember, and like they like.
Well, because how did they get? Oh, yeah, because because then they went and talked to the chick, Demi Moore's character, and she like sewed some like chip or like something in Beavis's pants.
That's right.
And that's why
It
there
had a
was
deadly-
the whole big
it was a deadly
manhunt.
virus or something.
Yeah, and that's why there was that whole big manhunt for him. But they just like without even realizing it, were bumbling their way like through. Like you remember that scene where it's just like there was checkpoints set up, but they end up going through the desert instead.
Yep.
And then they run in to their dads without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
that whole trippy scene.
Dude, that
was
I'm pretty sure
crazy.
that was Rob Zombie.
It was Rob. I mean,
Yeah.
Wasn't it Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Was it Red Hot Chili Peppers? I could have sworn it was,
It was
Rob Zombie.
Roller Coaster.
I'll try Roller Coaster of
Okay,
Love. That's
okay,
right.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like I remember that. I remember vivid parts from the movie, and I do remember that. I remember he does cornholio, and they do like a mug shot of him, and they're like
Yeah.
looking for him.
When he's in going down the hall of the White House.
Yeah.
and he sees Nixon.
Yeah.
He has a little standoff with Nixon.
So then also, do you remember when Beavis was sitting next to that old lady on the bus, and she like was giving him a bunch of pills?
All that, like
That was is her name Cloris or Doris Leachman?
I'm trying to think who that is.
The old lady, the grandma from Beer Fest, who was warming up the
Cloris
sausages.
Leach. It's Cloris Leachman,
Cloris
the old woman on a
Leachman.
plane and bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then
Didn't she feed him like speed or something?
She was like, I don't remember the.
I do remember
pills,
that
but-
part. And he started getting crazy and started making those noises on the plane.
Yeah.
He's going teepee.
But then,
I remember that.
one of my favorite parts was after they figured out who they were, and then it's that scene where their pussy teacher from high school is playing that song,
Lesbian Seagull.
Yeah, lesbian seagulls. And then those police officers come in and they just rock him in the stomach.
They break his guitar right in front of him.
Yeah, they break his guitar and just punch him in the stomach.
Yeah, that was a good part. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
no, man, that was a great way to think of it. The Beavis and Butthead adventure, like it was so cool seeing them out of the regular neighborhood, their regular going ons. Because yeah, dude, they
Wasn't there like a Bill Clinton showed up? I don't know if I don't think he voiced it, but
I think he did.
did he?
No, I don't think he voiced it, but I think he did show up.
Yeah.
And then you had the what was the neighbor who ended up
Tom Arnold?
Not Tom Arnold. It was the neighbor who what was the actual character's name who they ended up Mike Judge ended up building Hank Hill and
That's
King of the
Tom
Hill
Arnold.
off of it.
Tommy Anderson.
Tom Anderson, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So-
that was the big, quit whacking off in my tool
Yeah, quit
shed.
whacking off my tool shed. I remember him going to, in the movie, they're looking for their TV, and it's like, oh, we got to find a TV, and it's in his camper. And they go in there, and it's not working or whatever, and then Beavis or someone or Butthead leaves, and then Beavis gets caught off whacking in his tool, in his camper, and freaks out, and ends up like pouring soda on the TV or something. I remember that went bad, and they were all pissed and stuff. So, yeah, dude, I remember watching this movie when I was a kid, and I just remember it was hilarious. Like, I don't have, I can't remember everything that happened in the storyline, but I remember bits and pieces. I remember them going on a roller coaster and doing all that shit, like going through like a theme park in when they're tripping on that, like with their fathers in the desert, which I thought was really funny.
I would actually, now we bring it up, I would like to rewatch that scene because that that scene was nuts.
Yeah, and the who was it? Doesn't the person they're running away with, or the girl that sews the shit in their pants the entire time they're trying to bang her, and like she's leading them on the entire time, and like that they're just following her around?
Well, yeah, they misunderstood what the Bruce Willis's character meant.
Yeah.
So yeah, they think they're gonna do her, like, but yeah, he meant like kill her.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it was good, man. I mean, Beavis and Butthead's one of those shows I feel like it's the grandfather of, and this is just my opinion on this matter, but I think they're like the grandfather of adult cartoons. I feel like without Beavis and Butthead, we wouldn't see a lot of the good cartoons we see nowadays, like with South Park or anything on Adult Swim, or the early '90s TV shows on Comedy Central like Duckman and some of the stuff.
Well,
we
I
were
just
talking
don't
about.
see how it wasn't inspirational, especially just expanding an art medium that so many people for how many years considered cartoons for children.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, but it's like, no, and this is what I've always loved about cartoons and the animes I've watched, is just like, this is not just for children. This is it was a great medium at the time when CGI just wasn't there, that it's just like, there was good animation though. If you wanted to get kind of otherworldly or out of control, it's just like, live action stuff wasn't there.
Well, it's like it's just looking at it at face value. You see a cartoon, you instantly think, "Oh, this is for kids." You don't know that there's a deeper story there. Like more developed characters. Like there's more going on than just animation. And some animation, it looks great. Like the certain style, it doesn't have to be like realistic looking, as long as it has its own stylistic view.
Well, I remember being kind of upset when cell shading got big, and in hindsight, it was just like, I don't know what was up my ass, because it was just like, now I definitely appreciate cell shaded. I love that kind of style. Like, it's just another kind of style of animation.
It's weird to think about, and I don't even really consider it. I don't think of it when I think of cell shading games, but Breath of the Wild is cell shaded.
Really?
Yeah, heavily.
You know what? But yeah, I can see now that you say that. I can see it.
And if it wasn't for Wind Waker, I don't know if they would have went that route. Because at first, I was in the same boat. I was like, you got this new system. I was expecting like a Twilight Princess style graphic.
Yep.
Hit it hard,
and they came out with the cartoony Wind Waker first. I was really disappointed, but yeah, like you said, in hindsight, it looks great.
Yeah. Dude, funny fact I was going to bring up, and I just thought about it now, is like, actually, most people don't know this, but Scooby-Doo came out to be an adult cartoon at first, and it didn't like make a hit with adults, so they turned into a kid cartoon. Because
Really?
like, if you watch a lot of the early episodes, and this was something I watched not too long ago on TV, didn't even know this, but like when they open up the mystery van or what the hell it's called, you'd see smoke pouring out of it. And that's because they were stoners. Like they were supposed to be stoners. Scooby Doo and Shaggy were
Token
supposed to
van.
be, yeah, and Scooby Snacks were supposed to be like his fucking munchie thing. And fuck, I didn't know that, right? And then like it just blew up with kids, so they just reversed it and did it with kids. So
Well, I guess they still kind of kept the Shaggy's a stoner thing going.
It was
Yeah.
just unspoken.
yeah.
correct, like it wasn't just like no one talked about it. It was kind of one of those unwritten things. You looked at him, he looked like a hippie stoner type person. So just funny.
Rocking bell bottoms in the 90s.
But it's like, but yeah, no. Think about the state of cartoons in the 70s and 80s. It was just like it was just like if there was any, because what comes to mind is the Hobbit cartoon they made in the 70s. If you guys,
I've never watched it.
Watched it, but it was just like, but it was always so tailored to like a demographic, like the fantasy demographic. It was like. I think like in the 90s and Beavis and Butthead helped usher this in. It was just like we're bringing cartoons to a more mainstream, audience. We're not, just mainstreaming it.
And this was like in the height of Disney animation, like all their classics are coming out, early 80s, 90s. And I mean, obviously those are geared towards kids, So it's like they were trying to break the mold where it's like cartoons aren't just for kids. And even nowadays, I mean, Adult Swim, how successful are they? And
Dude,
they still
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick and
I mean,
Morty is
BoJack
huge.
Horseman, like all
Yeah.
all those Netflix cartoons they got. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Big Mouth.
it is crazy to see like the evolution of cartoons because like when our parents were growing up, you'd only think of cartoons to be like what's it called, like Looney Tunes or something like that. That was like their cartoons, and I still like watching that kind of stuff, right? Like it doesn't get old or anything.
I could sit down and watch any episode of Venture Brothers anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime.
But no, it's like I want to say it's like I would think it would be generational, but it's just like I've heard anecdotes from people who are like, I don't watch cartoons, they're for kids, and it's just like, dude, like you grew up in like the cartoon, like adult cartoon golden age. It's just like, how can you still sit there and say that it's like they're for kids?
Well, that's a lot of
Especially nowadays.
It's a lot of people. It's just
Narrow-minded.
Yeah, it is. It's like when I talk about like South Park, for instance, because it's just one of my favorite shows, and it's like when people tell me like that's a cartoon, and it's like it's not funny or nothing. It's like obviously you don't have a good sense of humor. I just
Like
don't get.
the creators are like in their 40s now. Like,
Yeah.
or whatever, like it's
Yeah.
adults making it. Even the stuff they make for kids, it's still adults making it, but I don't know.
But no, but I just thought of this. It's just like, okay, think about South Park compared to Beavis and Butthead. It's like, so Beavis and Butthead, I mean, come on, they were just shitheads, just doing shithead things. But it was just like, they're like, at least, I don't want to say at least, but in South Park, there were plenty of episodes where they tied back at least, they tied it back to some morality or trying to make some point.
Stan.
Or,
That was like Stan's whole point.
Yeah, Stan or Kyle would always come out and do
at
something
the
good about
end
it.
and clean up some of those episodes and be like, well, and then you look back and think it's just like, no, they were making, in some of those episodes, they were making really good points. And it was just like, it just kills me that people are just so willing to dismiss it off the cuff just because, oh, it's animated. So, end of my rant on the anti-animators.
Yeah, so I think that I think that kind of sums up like Beavis and Butthead and what I think growing up with. It's a great TV show. I mean, if it was on the day, I think I'd still watch it. But Mike Judge,
I would. That's one show I really do hope that he comes back and, at least like a limited couple, even a couple episodes. I'd
love to see them make fun of like Beyonce and
Yeah, dude, just bring it back literally and make some of these fucking.
It is funny
make fun
though.
of
Like
these music.
before we wrap it up for sure is like how many what's the word, like appearances they made on like movies, like like they made appearance in like Airheads or like Saturday Night Live or like just going through like some of the stuff.
Oh, some MTV Music Awards.
Yeah, MTV Music Awards or it's just crazy to think about how many appearances he's done. He's been on The Simpsons with the Beavis and Butthead. It's crazy to see how much Mike Judge has actually done with it. And it's like, to me, I wouldn't even,
What's impressive is that was his first successful foray into like an animated series.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've yet to talk about the other stuff he's done, but that was like the intro into all of his other successful stuff.
Yeah, great foundation to launch from.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy to see that still in 2018, people are still talking about Beavis and Butthead, and he still makes appearances on shows or doing voiceovers for that kind of stuff.
Didn't they come back not long ago for like a couple episodes? I thought I remember hearing about Beavis and Butthead in the last like 5 years or something.
I haven't heard anything, but I mean,
Not like a TV show. It was like, I don't know if it was like a one-off event or something.
probably something
Was it
small.
something on the web, maybe?
I don't remember.
It could have
I just
been.
remember hearing the name pop up again. I was like, oh, Beavis and Butthead.
I got to bring up one more thing before we wrap it up. Is the video games we played at Beavis and Butthead? I literally played the shit out of them when I was a kid.
They were so hard.
They were really hard, but I do remember like there was a couple. What's it called? Episodes were like not episodes, but like parts in the game. Like it felt like it's kind of reminded me of South Park nowadays. When you played the video game, you felt like you're kind of going along in the episode along with it and stuff like that. So I always felt like that was a cool thing to do with when I did South Park. Was not South Park, sorry, Beavis and Butthead. Was like the game felt like I was watching the TV show when I was going through it. That was something I always liked about the games.
Yeah, no, because I forgot if you had to put the cheat code in or if you could just scroll through levels, but I do remember being able to just skip levels in the game and switching over to like, I remember the school level, specifically the mall, even though I don't remember many episodes of them at the mall. I mean, the ones that stick out the most are probably, obviously the fake McDonald's they worked at sticks out, and then just hanging around the house, the neighborhood, or and then
At the school, I remember that.
We all do like we would not be doing them justice if we move on without mentioning about how much they used to fuck over Stewart. Do you remember? Do you remember the that kid that was in their grade and they just always took advantage of him? He was like this wiener kid, Stewart.
No.
And no, they would always get him into shit. They'd go to his house and like. I think I remember one episode they went over and like trashed it. And he got in trouble.
Oh yeah,
and he was always like, "No," he's like, "Don't do that or whatever." And they're like, "Shut up, Stewart."
Yeah, I remember like his parents were like really goody-goody, and like he was really goody-goody, and like they would go to his house and like watch TV or do whatever they wanted to do, and they would literally just fuck up his house and trash it, and he would cry, and they would just like leave and like fuck you, Stewart, and just leave. I do remember that. Over. It's kind of like, and it's funny to think about it because I think Stewart kind of has like resemblance to Bobby Hill type of like character. Like he didn't get really fucked over, but I remember his voice kind of like be similar.
But being like a little weenie kid, I could see it. I mean, you could see the workings going on with the neighbor, morphing or becoming the groundwork for Hank.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna move on to a movie, and I'm gonna pick Office Space. And for people who haven't seen Office Space, it's a movie based on three guys who are good friends that work at.
Everybody's seen Office Space.
Yeah, you'd think people would all see Office Space, but you never know. I can't remember the company they work. Do you remember the company they work at? It's Initech. They work at Initech. And they all hate going to their jobs every day, and it's the same repetitive thing over every day, and they both all
jammed copier.
Yeah, it's a stereotypical 9-to-5 job, office. You're in a cubicle. You have 6 bosses that all yell at you about the same thing.
Looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Anyone ever say that to you?
I mean, that's
no.
Who's that? I'd kick their ass. Someone say that to you?
Hey, Peter. But yeah, it's based on the.
Hey, Peter, turn to Channel 9, man. No,
doing the drywall down at the McDonald's.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, wasn't was that Oswald from the Drew Carey Show? What I forget, or what was?
Well, Ron Livingston is the main character who plays Peter, and then his next door neighbor is
Yeah,
Lawrence.
who's the next door neighbor?
It's Lawrence.
Lawrence,
and it's Dietrich Bader.
All right, so yeah,
And
no,
he played-
Lawrence, yeah, that guy,
He's awesome. He's hilarious in the show.
he is. He
He's
really
the guy
is.
asking to turn on Channel 9. They're doing the breast exams and stuff, so you can check out their breasts. So yeah, that shit was always funny. But dude, classic movie. We all work in like an IT tech world nowadays, and man, I don't know. When I first saw this movie, I didn't think too much of it, but after I watched it a couple of times, it really grew on me. And nowadays, it's one of those. It's an amazing movie. And I think I remember when this came out in the theaters, like they gave him like Mike Judge a lot of shit saying this was like a terrible movie, or it didn't even go into theaters if I don't even remember. But I remember after the fact it just blew up, and like this is like one of his iconic movies. Like
I'm pretty sure Idiocracy was the same way. It didn't do too hot in theaters, but it's like one of those cult movies that everybody can quote nowadays. Like,
yeah, it's kind of
it's
like
weird how movies can do that, where they
kind of like Clerks or something like that.
well they either market it wrong or it just doesn't find an audience.
Well, I think it doesn't stand well with critics, so they kind of
my
just like
statement?
they automatically, well, this isn't a movie I think I like, so we're just gonna not even put it in theaters. And I think back then that's probably what happened. I really don't know the backstory.
Hold
of
on,
it.
this wasn't in theaters. This had Jennifer Aniston.
I was gonna
in
say,
it.
if it
I'm
was
pretty
in-
sure it was.
'cause
Maybe I
I
think it was.
know that-
I think I'm in Idiocracy.
No,
I'm thinking.
no. Okay, so yeah, sorry to jump ahead, but just to clarify, it was Idiocracy. After studio execs actually watched what the movie was about, they completely tanked the advertising on it, and they tanked the movie on purpose because
Yeah.
they didn't like the message she was conveying.
well, it was anti what they were for.
anti-corporation, the
Right.
dumbing down of America over time
Yeah.
due to
So
all
to
that.
go back on what I was talking about, yeah, they're three friends. They hate their jobs, and they come to find out they're losing their jobs. So they plan against their company, and they're gonna screw over
Well,
and take
just
money.
to backtrack, only a couple of them were losing their jobs. Peter was keeping his because remember after he got hypnotized,
Yeah.
he stopped giving a shit, and they loved it. The Bobs,
He impressed the Bobs.
the Bobs, yeah,
Yeah,
um,
they all like Michael Bolton.
yeah. Those fuckers made me. I told them I love Michael Bolton.
But you can just call me Mike. That part. Is
Yeah, you guys just call me Mike, and they're like staring at him.
They go crazy about it. But yeah, there's a lot of good actors in the movie. I remember. Like,
Gary Cole is Lunderberg.
Yeah, Bill
Yeah.
Lumberg.
Great.
No,
Or
I,
Lumberg.
because I
Lumberg.
love how he's popped up in roles since, but he like, I'll always think back to his Bill Lumberg, because that's my first memory bit of his big role, and it's just so funny.
I love the part when he's at the party.
Those TPS reports,
And he brings Jennifer Aniston to the party, and like his friend, the guy's like, show me your O face and stuff like that. Guy, he comes up and he's like, yeah, Lumberg fucked her.
well, Lumberg fucked her.
There's always that one like super energetic, like eccentric office worker.
Yeah, loves his job and thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, that guy's fucking.
Oh, but
hysterical.
Isn't he the one who got T-boned?
No, yeah,
that
I was
was
gonna.
that was the other guy.
I was gonna say no. Yeah, the guy throwing the party is who
Trying to kill him?
That's
yeah, he was trying to kill himself, and then his wife came out. And he's just like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. And then he's backing out. He just gets T-boned right in
Gets
front of
a
his
fat
house.
That was.
Settlement.
I'm pretty sure that was
Yeah.
Tom or whatever it was who worked there, and he was always worried about losing his job. Today we're losing our job, guys. Like,
well,
freaks
because
out.
after Mo, do you remember his conversation with the Bobs? How
Yeah.
they were just like, so what do you do around here? And he's just like, I talk to the engineers. So, like, he's just like, why can't the customers talk to the engineers or something like that?
He's
It
like,
was
don't
just
you guys
such a
understand?
funny-
I have people skills.
yeah, yeah.
He's, what the hell is wrong with you people? Yeah, that part's great. He
Man, Jennifer Aniston. I mean,
Enough
it was
said.
right around Friends.
That was post,
Yeah.
right.
She was
post
huge
Friends.
was
when
that post? Yeah, right post
It
Friends.
had to
Yeah,
have been.
because
Or like
then
right around the same time.
dude, she's so smoking hot. Like,
She just made headlines the other day. She's still a household name. She's still like hot
Yeah.
shit.
dude, yeah, no,
when-
she still demands
for being in her 50s, she still looks like she's in her mid 20s, 30s. I mean, she is still smoking hot. And if I was Brad Pitt, I'd get back up in that real quick.
Dude, she just split up with Thoreau.
Yeah, I
Justin Theroux.
literally just saw
I
that.
didn't know
And
that.
Brad Pitt split up with his wife, so I think they watched them get back together or something.
All I know is go back and watch
Mr.
any.
and Mrs. Smith.
Go back and watch any episode of Friends. She never wears a bra.
She
It's
doesn't?
obvious. It's so
Oh,
obvious.
okay. That's awesome to know. But yeah, going back to the
little creep advice there.
Yeah, dude. One part that always sticks out in this movie with Office Space is the scene where he is it Bill or is it I can't remember his name.
Hold on,
No.
sorry to cut you off, but
No,
was
Michael.
she working at Shenanigans?
No,
Do you
no.
remember what was the name?
I think it was.
Yeah, so she was working at Shenanigans,
Yeah.
and her boss was Mike Judge.
Oh,
That was Mike
Oh,
Judge.
okay.
When he's giving her shit about her
about the
flare.
pins,
And flare,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is my flare, and she flicks everybody off. Yeah. So the part that sticks out to me, and it's funny, is with Michael Bolton, of course, with the printer, right? That always sticks on me. He's like, "Come on, you little fucker, you can do this." I'm like, he wants to destroy that damn printer that won't print and do anything. And a reason it stands out to me is because they're in college. There's a dot matrix printer that did the same thing to us, and my teacher at the time put a actual picture of the Office Space printer over our matrix printer in school. So at the end of the year when we graduated, we all got to beat the shit out of it with baseball bats. So like that is always something that sticks together with me
Nice.
about this movie. Really funny.
And then also on Michael, when they're introducing him during the starting credits, when he's like singing that rap.
Oh, he's rapping
that rap
it.
song, and then he pulls up next to a black guy, right?
Yeah,
And he
he's
just
selling
starts-
bananas or oranges. Or
Or
something.
yeah, no, it was the black guy walking, and then so yeah, he like
He's
turns
selling
it
something
down,
on the sidewalk or something.
and then as soon as he passes by, he like
turns
turns it
back
back up. Yeah.
He's undercover rap. Yeah, dude. I mean, there's not too much more I can say about this. I mean, this movie's awesome. I love all the cast members in this, and
I love the ending because I loved how Ron's character, Ron Livingston,
it's kind of bittersweet ending.
Yeah, so I just love the whole story. It was just like, he was so high strung and about having he had the shitty girlfriend, and then he just ends up and he had to go to work that Saturday. He was wigging out about it, but then after he gets hypnotized by the guy who played the scientist in Richie Rich, the Macaulay Culkin Richie Rich. Remember the guy? I just remember the scene where he's because Richie Rich had big the McDonald's.
Yeah.
And he's like has like a whole like tray full of Big Macs.
Yeah,
when he's like walking by Richie.
Yeah,
Sorry
I
to go
do
off on a
remember.
tangent.
No, I'm
did
trying to
good.
think who you're talking about.
The big guy.
I'll look him up here real quick. But yeah, keep going.
Richie Rich.
Yeah, so Richie Rich.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
anyways, Mike Judge.
Mike Judge.
Podcast,
I don't remember.
But hey, Richie Rich, Macaulay Culkin.
No,
I'm about to start talking about Home Alone.
I love that movie. Richie Rich was
No,
great,
I
dude.
get off on tangents like that. I don't know. I personally love trying to like connect people to other stuff. I don't know.
I'm
It's
not
like a
bashing you at
fun-
all. I love Richie
Oh,
Rich.
No, yeah.
No, I love that movie too. I just don't.
fine.
I know the
But
character
yeah, that
you're
was the
talking about.
hypnotist. So, anyways, so back to it. It was just like so. Anyways,
he has a heart attack, right?
he has a heart attack, and it's just like, and so Peter's stuck in this.
Oh yeah,
nice,
it's Keen Bean. No, I'm joking. That's his name, Richie Rich.
Is it
Yeah, Professor Keen Bean or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
It's Michael McShane.
Michael McShane? Yeah. So yeah, dude. That's who the hypnotist was, and I just love that scene where it's just like he sleeps in and then he checks his messages. And I think one was his girlfriend bitching at him, and the rest were Lumberg being like, Peter, you were supposed to be here at yada yada. He's like, we're still working Saturday, just so you know. And he was just like not giving a shit.
Just kept on
Just
snoozing
like-
it or just rolling over.
I forgot who he's talking to, but he's talking. I was like, I just slept in on Saturday. It just felt great.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but yeah, anyways, so I just love how he was able to keep that cool mindset from being hypnotized. And then, like, yeah, dude, bittersweet ending is starting to cut through a lot of the plot, but then it's like, obviously, they had the scheme that, went awry, but thanks to, what's his face?
Milton
with the stapler, burns the place down, takes the cash so they never know, and then Peter ends up being like a laborer with his neighbor, and
Yeah, which was awesome. And,
which,
then
you
they
know,
both
it's-
got jobs at Inatrode right next to it.
yeah, his buddy's got jobs in Intro, but he
Yeah.
was fine just laboring. Is what I liked about that. It was just like he just didn't want to do.
He wanted to be
so
outside.
did
He
it.
got sick
Yeah.
of being inside,
So-
which I get. Like I feel like most jobs you don't want to. I don't know. I don't feel like you're supposed
Yeah,
to be
well, it's the
inside. 9
grass
to
is always
5.
greener on the other side, sort of
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
So
The one part I wanted to bring back up, I do remember the part with the answering machine. I was going to chime in with that. Was I remember his girlfriend tells him that he's cheating on him, and she screams it so loud the answering machine shakes. And I don't know why that always sticks in my head, but it's like it's crazy that it did that. But that part's always
he
funny.
just didn't even care.
Yeah, he's like, okay, fuck it, fuck you, pretty much. But yeah, great
That was-
movie, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty. At the end when the fire, like that was pretty crazy. Like they got so lucky.
You're right.
Like in reality, it was just luck.
Yeah, it was good, and yeah, the whole premises of the movie was good.
Didn't Milton like not get paid for like weeks or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
they moved into the basement
Yeah.
because remember they fixed
He kept begging
the
for a
glitch.
check.
Oh yeah, he fixed the glitch, and then like, hey,
They're like,
they kept on moving his desk. And he's like, if they keep making me move,
He's
I'm
just
gonna
like,
burn the building down.
I talked to payroll and they told me to talk to you, and he's like, well, you're gonna need to talk to payroll. They kept like bullshitting
He's like,
him.
he always come over and be like, hey Milton, what's up? When Bill Longer would come over and he'd be like, yeah, we're gonna need you to move downstairs, and here's some bug spray. We got a bug problem down here, or whatever. And he's like,
it.
like, hey, let me get that from you.
That's the
That's that
final
stapler I've
straw.
been looking for. So he's like, no, that's my stapler, and I'll burn the building down. So.
Burn it down.
So yeah, great movie. I'm glad we got to talk about this because it's one of those movies, like we were talking about earlier. It's one of those ones that fly under the radar. Like it didn't get really big reviews, but nowadays it's one of those movies that everybody knows and loves. Maybe not everybody likes it, but I feel like it's one of those.
Who out there doesn't like this? Seriously,
I can't name names, but I've definitely heard of someone who doesn't like
that's
it.
just that's a travesty. What do they enjoy in life? Torturing puppies? Like, seriously,
Honestly, don't know. I can't. Like I said, I don't even remember who said that. But
name some names.
I've heard that before, and
Put them on
I had the
blast.
same reaction. I'm like, how's that
Really?
possible?
It's like I can
Yeah.
understand a lot of things turning people off,
I
but
just
this
think
is
you don't
just
like movies
one of those
when-
ones.
It's a movie where if somebody says, "I don't like this," I just say, I don't think you like movies. If you don't like Office Space, you clearly do not like movies.
Right.
Right.
That's what I think.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean,
Final thoughts all around.
Great movie, great cast.
yeah, great movie, great cast.
Classic. This will be quoted for so long, and it's just like I hope this isn't one that's already lost on the younger generations.
I'm sure that it like grabs people in a similar situation that are just like feel like a drone. Just
Well,
9
it's
to
just
5.
like waiting. You know how waiting is for the food service industry, and
Mm-hmm.
it's seriously, this is the office spaces for office workers.
It is. It really is. It really tells like the story of the people that come to work every day that do not like their job and like he's trying to sneak out the door so he doesn't get to work on Saturday, because he knows that if he doesn't get out before lumber comes over there, then he's fucked. I'm sure people have to deal with that all the time, and it sucks.
Like yeah, just getting a manager who takes advantage of you, and like you have no course of action. Like you're stuck. You have a shitty manager. That's your life.
Yep.
You have to deal with it.
Not just have one, he has like 6 people he has to talk to every time he messes up, which that would be insane to have that many people.
I heard you're having problems with TPS reports.
Did you get the memo about the header sheet on those TPS reports?
Then no, and then after he doesn't give a shit, he comes in after fishing. He like guts a fish on his TPS reports.
Right. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next one and see which one do you think we should you want to talk about next?
Well, let's go TV show. How about Silicon Valley?
Okay. I'll let you kick this one off.
Okay, so this is one of his newer shows out there. I mean, was it 3-4 years ago started? So
Yeah, it must have been.
and this is about Richard, right? Richard is the main character, and it's just I think he works at him and his buddy start working at a fake Google company, Hooli, and he just comes up with a good idea. What was it originally? The idea was it a music player, Randy, or what? But it ended up
Yeah. So
I think it was some sort of like music identification app. I think.
right, but then the emphasis was on the compression part of it, and so
Yeah, so he had some guys at Hooli. Was it Hooli?
I think it was
Take a look
Hooli.
at his
Yeah.
app and say, "Hey, let me know what you think of my app." And they're the ones that realize, like, "Oh shit, he doesn't even realize what he's sitting on here. He's got a compression algorithm."
because right, and the
So
deal.
then they take it, and then they end up showing off their Wiseman score and say, "Look at us with like 2.9 or whatever." So then they have that dick argument in the hotel or whatever, and then Richard like overnight comes up with a new algorithm and like doubles their Wiseman.
Is that the argument where they're talking about like jerking guys off and
Yeah.
doing stuff? Oh, fucking love that.
But that's season 1 in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. But I was just gonna say, it's like, because since he had worked for Hooli at the time, and he came up with the idea while at Hooli, is that why they were legally like entitled? Because what didn't he do it on a Hooli computer
Yeah,
or
he
something?
did.
Yeah,
so
something like that.
it enabled him to like legally be able to steal it from him.
Yeah, there's
and
that
like
position where
compete.
He basically had to admit.
And Gavin Belson, I guess, is the the head of. He reminds me more of like, it's funny because it's like I feel like a lot of his, you know, they that character was parodied off of like Steve Jobs. I kind of get that feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the crazy CEO.
Yeah. Unveiling stuff and
I don't remember what season was. I think it was season 2, or it might have been 3. I don't remember. But he like bring in animals and
to make points. Or to like they're like, if you bring in one more animal, and he's just like, look, and the guy's like bringing one in, he's just like taking
Wave
it
them
off.
off.
Yeah. And they end up with a dead elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. He does remind me of somebody specific. I'm trying to think like another character. It's like the boss. I guess not like Michael Scott. I don't know. Just kind of like stupid, you know. Like he's still in charge, but he makes stupid decisions.
Definitely a character, you know.
He was hilarious.
Every time I've watched it, I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, I'm gonna be honest, and it's like I always get a feel like they're like 4 or 5 best friends that stumbled upon this stuff, and like they're just going through the motions of like
learning what Silicon Valley is.
Do you guys remember
Making
how
deals
did they get hooked up with Erlich Bachman?
he
Because
he
had
owns their habitat.
the incubator,
Yeah.
yeah.
He owns that house, so I guess they were renting, or no, he has intellectual property, like he gets a percentage of whatever they come up with in his incubator. That's what it is.
Right, but so did they go to him after they left Hooli?
I think they were,
or they were already there before.
I want to
they
say
left?
they were already there.
don't they go there and then they get bought out by Bachman or whatever the company's called in the second season or whatever?
Well, we're going down. Yeah, that's second season stuff. And then because what happened? Because I know season 1 was all about Richard and Big Head pretty much. I feel like where there was a lot of emphasis, and it's just like Big Head kind of left the picture, but did he stay on at Hooli?
I think so.
And they threw a bunch of money at him to stay there or something because they thought he like was creative
They
and
thought he
didn't
could rival Richard.
right.
Yeah.
He was a dipshit.
What was the company name they called it? And with the Pipers,
Pied Piper.
Pied Piper, yeah.
Yeah, the company, the compression algorithm company.
Yeah.
They ended up going with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's got a great cast too. Kumail Nanjiani, he's great.
yeah, he is.
Zach Woods is fucking hilarious.
Dude, I like Zach Woods a lot. You know,
I was kind of on the fence about the guy who plays Richard, Thomas Middleditch.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of on the fence about him at first, but he's pretty funny.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I really like Monica Hall in the movie. It was Amanda Crew. Dude, she reminds me of fucking like a young Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. And every time I see her in shows now,
She is a great actress. So
Yeah, she's funny.
I'm hoping that like she can land some stuff because I do enjoy her performance in the show.
What else is she-
and she's good looking, so that's why I just like her.
And Zach Woods, fantastic.
Sorry, I would derail you.
Yeah, sorry. Zach Woods and
Yeah, Zach Woods. Hilarious.
Well, I'm just trying
Martin
to see
Starr.
who's the guy? Is it Who's the guy with the glasses
The
and long
networking guy.
Yeah.
That's Martin Starr.
Yeah, his monotone, and he is a
Satanic.
saint. Yeah,
Yeah,
Satanist. And I just love how he's always giving Camille shit.
I like how he's like the hardware guy, like going out into the garage and like trying to keep the servers cool, you know.
yeah, it's just
Smashing
funny
the
that they're
wall with a
like
sledgehammer.
they're
Yeah.
based in California and they don't even really know what the hell Silicon Valley is, and they just kind of like stumble upon it, and now they're like trying to like figure it out as they go on, and it seems like most of them are dipshits, and somehow they just just stumble upon gold, and then before they know it, they're getting offers and money.
They know nothing about business, and they're painting a good picture of like what someone who would have that sort of technical knowledge. Like they have no social skills.
But look at and this is what's funny. This is the funny dynamic of that is it's just like they're big business guys or like Bachman. That's who goes to the business meetings for him to like push it. And it's so funny because TJ Miller is fantastic in this role because he's playing like he's simultaneously playing kind of like a dipshitish guy, but then you remember when he landed, like how many good deals did he land for those guys? Like at least 3 or 4, I want to say.
Yeah.
Remember
Getting him out of
because
trouble,
what
yeah.
was the Chinese kid's name who wouldn't leave?
Yang.
Yang.
Yeah,
Was it
Yang.
Yang?
Yeah.
And So Ehrlich thinks, I think it's the latest season when Ehrlich thinks he's come up with like a food identification app, and it's really just it can determine if it's a hot dog or not.
Yeah.
And he's pitching at the meeting, and he's like, a great pitch man, and he gets him this great deal, but then he's just like, it can only identify hot dogs or not hot dogs or something.
He said he could. He I think Yang said he could make it work, but he's like it would take years, like to program every single food.
Right, because wasn't he? Yeah, and they were like, "We'll have this out," he gave him like a really short time period.
Yeah.
Ehrlich told him, he's like, "We'll have this out in months or something."
Yeah. So,
Got to talk about Russ Hanneman, the guy who funds him whenever he.
Not Gavin. Russ. But who was the guy who used to be partners with Gavin? It was
the guy
the actor who actually passed away.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Because he was in the season 1. Because I'm not gonna lie, if you go back and watch that scene where he goes and buys one of everything from Burger King, and he's like sitting there, and he's like
Just
trying
staring at the
everything,
food. Yeah.
and he figures out something with sesame seeds. And then, he futures something with sesame seeds in a country, and that's how
He's
he
like,
funds those one guys.
yeah.
Just like that, just like,
Right.
oh, here's a bunch of money.
Here's
But I love the backstory because you get in later seasons when you find out that I think it was season 3 too, where you find out that he used to be partners with Gavin,
Right.
And it was just yeah, dude. I don't know, just very similar to Steve Jobs and Woz.
Yeah.
That dynamic kind of.
Yeah, I get that feel from it, and like you were saying earlier about it, it's just funny that I don't know if they're trying to play towards that more, some of the Silicon Valley stuff is with Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Are they trying to do these guys are supposed to be new inventors, but they're really retarded and they really just don't know what the hell they're inventing at the time? Or
I wouldn't say that, but it's just I don't know what current day Silicon Valley's like, but obviously it's not like any of the things we've seen on Steve Jobs anymore, or any of the biopics that you've seen on Steve Jobs or Bill
It's
Gates.
PC,
And
it's PC Capital from what I hear.
It really is. Well, yeah, but it's every company wants to go because it has the most business in the world. You think about it, you got Facebook and you got
but as far as the face of technological innovation in Silicon Valley, it's just it used to be, it was Apple and PC and that. Now it's just so
Cisco, all those kind of
so
companies.
spread out in the sense of, and I mean I guess I can't say that because I really don't know, but as far as the way the show presents it, it's just just how there's just so much going on tech wise nowadays.
It's
with
it's
apps or
it's kind of
programs.
like the saying that it's an inch deep but a mile wide. There's
that's a great way to say that.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Nobody can keep up with any of it. So that's why everybody wants to be there to be part of the tech revolution that's going on right now.
And it seems more of a rat race these days, where with robotics and AI and automation, it seems like everyone's trying to get the edge up on the other one.
I agree.
So
it's kind of scary to think about it because it's we're going so quick, and AI always scares me. I know we're going off topic about stuff, but it's
Go off topic.
I mean,
Right.
Google's they're investing in it. I mean,
everybody's investing. I mean, you
That's
see
what I'm saying.
you see the
It's-
commercials with
it's not
Toyota
off topic.
doing.
Google is Silicon Valley.
Yeah. I mean, you see I've seen the commercials with Toyota, they're doing stuff with robotic arms and robots doing stuff.
Oh, you want to talk about robotics? Boston Dynamics. I mean, if you look at the
they're
upgrades
crazy.
over the past few years of that one robot, they
Doing
had on
backflips
4
and doing
legs,
stuff.
It's amazing how fast this tech is moving.
Yeah, but think about what Bram was talking about was with the AI stuff. Everybody wants AI. It doesn't matter if you're Amazon. Amazon's leading right now with AI stuff, with purchasing and music and all their stuff. Google and Apple.
Are you
are trying
talking
to
about
do
AI or automation?
Talking about both of it, AI
Well,
and automation.
They're leading in sales with their current gen of what they consider AI.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider Alexa completely.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, Alexa and the Siri and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm talking about. The stuff that ties into stuff. People want things convenient, and they think it's cool to have something smart
Which
that will do it for you.
I guess I'd have to look at the actual definition of artificial intelligence, because I guess that is some sort of a form of it.
It's a form of AI.
It's like
I'm
yeah.
talking about when I think of AI, I think of
robots.
sentience,
Yeah, me too.
Right. The Turing test, I believe,
Yeah.
is if you can ask. The way that it's set up is like, yeah, you're in a separate room and you don't know if it's a robot or a person, and it's just like if you can ask a question and you can't tell if it's a robotic response, then it's achieved AI as far as the Turing test.
There
is
was
concerned.
some video that came out that was really viral not too long ago, and it was a robot at a podium, and they asked him a bunch of questions, and he answered it just like a human being that would be very conscious, random questions people were asking him from the crowd, and he was able to answer. Can't remember who it was and who did it, but it was. If you haven't seen it, it's probably one of those things you want to go check out and watch. It was kind of mind blowing to see that's where it's going.
Right, that's where it's
See,
going.
and I think with the technology they already have available, it's not outlandish to think that they can program something to field questions and
Yeah.
all, like, honestly, the first thing they did was probably upload the Google search engine, like all the questions that get typed into Google. It's like, just think of that amount of information that humans can program into a machine.
Yep.
When I think of AI, I think of somebody who's capable of learning all that information on their own.
Yep.
And being able to, like, improvise on the spot, like if the way they field questions and if they have emotion and like I said, that could be like a form of AI. And I guess, like, if the people in the crowd couldn't tell if it was AI or not, because that's basically like a public Turing test.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that no one's ever done before, so to them it's something new in the AI world. Like,
it's definitely a stride forward.
I remember it was Google or Microsoft not too long ago. They did 2 AI robots, and they did this where they wanted to see what kind of, like, conversations they could have with each other. Well, they started talking English to each other, and they started talking so quick they spawned their own language, and it was like gibberish, and they're just talking to each other. They had to shut them down because it wasn't making any sense or nothing. But, like, they're trying to get to that form of doing that kind of stuff.
I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast. Somebody was talking about that, but they said it wasn't as malicious as they made it sound.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it was they got just stuck in like a loop, basically.
Yeah, it was just like a loop or something.
It wasn't like they were like sending secret codes to each
No.
other. like a
It
secret
was just
language.
more that it didn't work the way they planned it out, and people freaked out, thought they were doing something crazy, like planning an attack or something.
I'm
So-
sure that was the headline magic, the way the way they write headlines.
Oh, of
People-
course.
Right.
You read a headline, and you think a certain way. But, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just
But
going.
Silicon Valley as a whole, I think AI is a big part of that nowadays. But back you're talking about Steve Jobs, Wozniak, like you were saying, like Apple, IBM, like the Forerunner.
How it used to just be, yeah, like they were literally like still building out
Nobody knew what it was.
computers, literally computers, GUIs, like literally the basics.
They were doing
the
that out of the
foundations.
garage.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And
What's-
obviously, computers. I mean, they're still part of our lives. So, like,
They
you
run
know,
everything now.
it's just it's pretty wild.
Well,
Like,
as soon as they can replicate neural networks, then I'll be concerned.
You're right. So, I mean, yeah, in a whole, I mean, Silicon Valley is just the place that everybody thinks is the birthplace to go to spawn new technology and stuff, but which is, I don't think is really true. I think it's just more that's where you have a lot of availability with a lot of smart people there to do things that,
I think the show does a good job of showing the extremes on both sides, like the massive Hooli Google type company versus like your small indie developer. Like,
Yeah. Never. I didn't think of that.
I'm just
but
gonna
that's
make
a
an
good
app.
juxtaposition. There.
yeah, it's like
There's like
I'm just
start
making an app. I'm trying to make this music app, and oh shit, I got something golden here. I start feeling $1 million deals. Like,
yeah, it does because you think about it. Silicon Valley's everybody wants to move. Same thing with California. They just want to move to like with their actors and to get their career started. And that's like the place for small companies to start up and become $1 billion organizations overnight from something like that. So it does depict that very well. But it does depict the fact that these guys are just friends and they like to get fucked up and do funny shit and stuff. That's why I really like the show.
oh yeah, good comedy.
Great characters. Mike Judge, always great characters.
Yeah.
Great writing.
I wonder how much of it's improv and how much of it's like this is a Mike Judge
there's
line.
definitely that there's some.
I know there's probably a little improv, but I
Yeah.
wonder if they have like, oh, this is a Mike Judge line. I'm gonna stick to this. Like, I wonder if they make that decision or if Mike Judge makes that decision.
Great question. I do. Because it's different.
If he's writing for a specific character.
Because think about his past, okay? Because it's just like with Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill. Like, I'm pretty sure. I can't really speak to this, but I would imagine that he, being a voice actor and the director and a writer,
Scripting it.
that he is no stranger to writing. So are like making stuff up on the fly with how many characters he plays. Dude, that guy's got to be schizophrenic after. Seriously, some like King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead, like he plays so many voices.
Well, it's good to know. He kind of like started the whole thing of doing a show, and he started all this doing all the voices. You think about it with like South Park with Matt Trey and Stone Parker. I know I'm going back to them a lot, but they do all the voiceovers, and the same thing with like Family Guy with can't think of his name at the moment, but he does all the voices pretty much for Family Guy. So it's
There's a show, the life and times of Tim.
Yes.
yeah.
And I forgot the creator's name. I hate that I forget his name. But he hasn't really done a lot. But he did this as like some festival and ended up getting funded at HBO. He does a lot of the voices on there too, and he's super funny. He's like, but it's his vision. It's like he did the animation, he did the voices.
It's crazy to see how successful people are, and they
Scat Tim, scatter, you're fired.
It's just great that I guess those festivals, because that's how Mike Judge started.
Yeah.
The Frogs with Baseball.
But then
Yeah,
think
Frog
about that
Frog
too: is
Baseball.
these guys doing all these voices? Is it part of its necessity because it's just like you don't have the money
Can't
to
hire
like
a voice actor
yeah, it's like
for one
so.
worth of shit.
So yeah, when you're getting a small start like that, but it's great. It's so far every example of that is they've churned out a great product even over after decades.
I agree.
Seriously, it's like, yeah, I don't know, just freaking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see the next season of Idiocracy. I need to rewatch probably season. I need to watch them all.
Yeah,
rewatch
full
them all.
disclosure, it's like I hadn't seen season 1 or 2, and it's been a minute. I know I'm stretching here on certain things, and my memory's always shit. So,
Like I said,
I mean,
especially with the Mike Judge shows, the plot's relevant with Silicon Valley, but it's like it's more about the characters.
It really is.
The focus. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go without talking about the plot.
Yeah. So pretty much. I think that's pretty much sums up Idiocracy, and we're gonna move on probably to another TV show by Mike Judge, and I think we're gonna go on to let's talk about.
I think is this it? I think this is it.
Idiocracy.
Yeah, no, we were
Oh,
talking about, no.
we-
Oh yeah, Idiocracy. I forgot. We'll talk about that as a movie.
Forgot.
Yeah.
Almost skipped it.
So I'll start this off. So, Idiocracy, it's a great movie, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. It's one of those movies that it didn't get to go in the movie theater. Most people didn't know about it. I think it was like the first time Owen Wilson was like in a real big movie.
Luke.
Or, I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry, yeah, that's right, Luke Wilson.
What were you saying? They crashed the marketing.
Yeah. So yeah, the execs, from my understanding, after they saw a screening of the film, I think they had a contract that with Mike that the movie got made, but after seeing it, they didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, they dumped it.
They tanked the advertising. It still played in movie theaters. It just did absolutely horrendous, and it didn't reach, I don't think, as many movie theaters as usual. But yeah, they purposely tanked it. But that this was such a movie. The quality of this movie, how they thought it wasn't going to be a cult classic after trying to squash it, is beyond me. And it's just like it's going to stand the test of time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I think it's his best work because I think it's such a good foresight on like how technology is going to affect people.
I agree.
And I don't think people truly understand the impact it'll have. Like as far as like just the guy in the intro, the guy sitting in his chair. He's got everything he needs right there in his chair.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
remember-
already getting to that point. I mean,
It
Right.
really is. It's crazy to think that he's already thinking this ahead of time. Most people, I don't know if people have seen it, but the storyline is, there's Luke Wilson, and he is, an army. I can't remember army
Dipshit.
Yeah, army dipshit, and he sits in a library and like monitors shit in there for the army. And like Brant was saying, like he sits in there, he's got everything he needs. He watches any like raunchy TV shows he wants or whatever he wants to do on his computer, and that's all he needs to do. Like he's got everything available right there for him. And then later he gets frozen, cryogenically frozen, and then they wake him up, 500 years later in the future, and everybody in the world is just completely dumb. And he's the smartest person in the universe or the world at the time, which. It's crazy to think about because it really could happen. Like the way technology and stuff spawning, people's IQ could really drop that quick, and people could really become that dumb. Now, is it really plausible? Probably over time, but it's hard to think that
It's
could happen.
okay. I mean, look, it's very overdone, in a sense. But I think the core message there is true because it's like it's like any other dystopian future, but it just has a comedic twist. It's like, is technology, helping us or hurting us at the end of the day? Because in his, hypothetical future, it obviously hurt people as a whole, and it allowed them to become lazy.
They couldn't grow crops because all they had was Gatorade.
Right,
They didn't have
because of the exclusive rights and deals that Mondo did.
And
I just love how they, he just really grills into a lot of points, a lot of the negative points of corporations, and
they're all plausible.
They
Right.
are.
Yeah.
They are. Corporate apathy is a real thing, and it's
It
real
is.
scary.
One thing I remember from the movie was how disgusting, like dirty and trashy the world becomes because people just become so lazy and dumb, like they don't know what to do. So like the world's like trash, like the streets are destroyed, that building's duct taped together.
Dude, the Carl's Jr. Vending machine.
Thank you for choosing Carl's Jr.
Right. And it like your kids are now property of Carl's Jr.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't the government like ran by the Carl's Jr. and like he gets like money every time he mentions Carl's Jr. or something?
Yeah, the one guy. Dude, it's the
Sponsored.
same actor.
Yeah.
It's
Terry
from
Crews.
No, not Terry Crews. He's the president, but the actor from Office Space who played the guy who was rapping.
Oh, Michael Bolton.
Michael Bolton. Yeah, he's the guy who
David Herman.
That's
David Herman.
Yeah.
He plays the secretary of like the
Secretary
or
of
something.
State,
Yeah,
yeah.
Secretary of State. And what does he say? He's just like, he keeps saying like brought to you by Carl's Jr.
That's right.
And Luke Wilson's like, why do you keep saying that? Because every time I say it, they give me money.
That's right.
Justin Long. He was was he the lawyer? Or
Yeah,
He
Justin
was
Long.
the doctor.
He was like the
the
doctor.
doctor,
Something.
That's it. Yeah.
And they had the butt plug and the mouth plug, and he was like,
He's like, which one's
mixed them
which?
up.
Who's the guy with the curly hair that was like he comes into his office and he's playing games and he's got a fucking toilet on his seat. Like I remember like his toilet seat when he's sitting down like so he can take a shit while he's like gaming or doing something.
That was Dak Shepard.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Okay.
Go away, Baton.
I thought Maya Rudolph was great in that. Like she hasn't been in a lot of movies, but everything she's been in, I thought she's been hilarious.
She was the prostitute in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was funny. Yeah, she was good in the movie. It's funny that she was like one of the people that chose Frozen to go with him in the future too, and like it was like either they were supposed to like reproduce or don't, and like I remember like watching it and like they're showing like people with high IQ were afraid to reproduce because they didn't want their kids growing up with all these retards. It's like that's crazy.
Yeah, and what was it? Something about the IQ. I don't remember where I was going to go with that. I have no idea.
I remember the IQ's really low and like if they
So
show like a
he-
family tree.
So he's like, he's got like an average IQ, or
Uh-huh.
he's considered dumb in his time.
Yeah,
and
but-
he's like he's a genius.
Yeah, it's
Luke's
crazy.
character, yeah.
Yeah. Once they find out he can like speak proper English, like you can read and write.
Well-
he's just like, when he figures out, it's like, you guys got to stop putting Mondo on the crops, water the crops. And they're like, that stuff from the toilet? Because even Mondo even comes out of the drinking fountains at the hospital and shit.
dude, it's crazy.
Or how easy he got out of jail. Remember, he's just like, oh, no, I was supposed to be released today. And they're like, okay.
Just let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good though. I think it does kind of show how something like that could happen. But I think it is funny, like they show like with the IQ stuff, like the people that are like have like a IQ of like 70 or 80, which is considered like really low. It's like they're the ones having like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids in their family and stuff. And this is like why.
Oh
it's
yeah, you're
happening.
talking about that montage where they're going back between the smart couple, the smart professional couple.
Yeah, like they're
and
showing,
then
like, the family trees of
like
people.
The guy who played football and married, and
Yeah.
he has kids, and his kids have kids, and then they flash back to the smart couple, and they're like, "Well, it was just never a good time to have kids," and they just never had
And then,
kids.
Yeah,
and then multiply that times a million.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they just keep showing it multiplying.
Like the
over
family
the
trees,
year.
everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
was
saying.
good.
Very, very plausible. That's like, who's to say that couldn't happen?
It definitely could happen.
But no, it's a great. I mean, it is. I want to say it's a popular theme in dystopian futures. It's just like the dumbing down of society.
It is true, but you think about it now with just going back to talk about technology in schools and everything with smartphones and everything else. Like kids are way lazier about doing stuff, and they feel like all the information they need is right there in front of them on their phone. Which, to be honest, it really is. Like you can get anything from the internet, but doesn't make you intelligent or anything because you can get information that quick. It's the fact that we're allowing this to happen a lot. So it could this kind of stuff could happen. I think it does happen now.
Yeah, it's obviously not going to be as funny, but I mean, I could see. I don't know. I don't want to be.
It is a good idea, though. Mike Judge was on to something when he thought about this for a storyline. It really does make sense that this kind of stuff could happen.
It was just a freaking hilarious way to present it.
It was. It really was. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that really stuck out in the movie to me.
When he is sentenced to death and he's driving around the car with the dildo on it. It was hilarious. Camacho, Terry Crews.
Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't the entire time like Luke Wilson? He's looking around. They're looking for that time machine capsule that came in, so they can get back in time where they were because they don't want to be there. Is that?
Well, no. Yeah, she's saying there's a time capsule machine, and what's it? Hold on, because now I'm remembering when they went to Costco, and Costco was like the size of like. Like a mega
building,
a small city or something, and like it got dumbed down to the point because how Costco has greeters. And, like, welcome to Costco, I love you. Like is what it got dumbed down to, and or like how Fuddruckers turned into butt fuckers.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Like, the Fuddruckers with butt fuckers.
Yeah, just all little stupid shit like that, But no, sidetracked. Dax is telling there's a time machine. And when they finally find it at the end, it's like a museum or something, and it's like no, it's not really a time machine.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I remember bits and pieces of it, and it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. So
we're just off the cuff on some of this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I watched an episode of King of the Hill yesterday, but besides that, I haven't seen any of this stuff in a long time. But you know what? That's what's kind of fun about winging it is, just the stuff that does come to mind off the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
memorable.
Yeah, I mean, Idiocracy overall, to me, it's kind of like Clerks. It's one of those ones that people didn't really like, or didn't think it was cool at the time or whatever. And now Clerks, one of those iconic movies to me that's amazing.
I love it. I love society critiques. I would argue that, that wasn't necessarily one, but all the points they raise about society in Clerks, great. I love that kind of stuff where, they're just talking about bigger issues, I guess. I know a lot of that, too, they were arguing about.
Kind of the point I was making, though, it was one of those movies that was supposed to be like a low-budget movie that, it was not supposed to be like some amazing movie, and then like it didn't do well in theaters, and then after theaters, now everybody loves it.
Yeah, cult classics.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like this movie is with Idiocracy. Like, you never see it on TV, and if you do, I don't know. I've never seen it on TV in a long ass time. I think I saw it on Comedy Central one time because it is a comedy movie.
Well, this is what surprised me is when I rented it, because I remember renting this. I think it was that old. I remember renting it and being like, the quality of this, and it's so funny, and there's big names. How did this fly under the radar?
It's pretty crazy that they have the power to do that. Like, and
the company that fucking made it.
Well, and good for him for kind of not spitting in their face directly, but having the balls to say that, put the budget into something like that to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he probably knew the ramifications. He probably knew that could happen.
I agree. Yeah,
he might have written up the contract knowing that. Like, I want to make sure this movie at least gets made, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
I didn't know.
It does, like you said, it stands the test of time. It's a cult classic for sure.
I do remember a short interview with Mike Judge, and he was talking about, for this movie, he actually was going to cast Luke's brother Owen, but he wanted to give Luke a shot. Because he wanted to... because he wanted something different. He didn't want the same feeling because, Owen Wilson, he's in a lot of movies and everybody knows him. He wanted something new and that he was like flying under the radar type of person. So I think I like Luke, Wilson. He's not my favorite actor by any means and stuff because I hate Owen Wilson, but yeah, the wow shit really gets on my nerves that he does in every movie.
Yeah, I can't think of a movie I don't like him in.
Luke Wilson,
Mm-hmm. He's good in Old School.
he's awesome in Old School.
He's pretty much.
Dude, does Wes Anderson work?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you guys ever see Bottle Rocket?
I
Yeah.
saw. Was he in Steve Zissou? I know he was in Royal Tenenbaums.
I don't think he was in Zissou. I'm thinking of Tenenbaums, his performance in Tenenbaums. I just love that movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, so
Apparently that new he's got like a dog stop animation dog movie out. Wes Anderson. Apparently it's got really good reviews. I haven't seen any of his stop motion. He's done some other stop motion.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox. It was
Was
pretty
that good?
It was pretty good. I'm vaguely remembering it, but I'll tell you this: I just have such an appreciation for stop motion that, not that I've gone out of my way to see a bunch, but I mean, like, and also that claymation kind of stuff, like Wallace and Gromit, is awesome.
I love
mean,
seeing the behind the scenes, like seeing how much effort they go into.
dude,
just, like,
the
one
behind the
small
scenes
scene.
on Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, just how much work. Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, unless you guys have anything else, I think that pretty much wraps up the podcast for today. I really do like Mike Judge. It's a shame that we don't see as many new things coming out from him as in the past. But we could have talked about King of the Hill and stuff like we mentioned it here. That's a good TV show as well that he produced and
It was
directed.
just a time thing, because I mean, King of the Hill. I mean, I could talk for hours just about King of the Hill.
Yeah. So unless you guys have anything else, I mean, that's pretty much
Well,
to me.
let us know if you guys have any suggestions as far because we'll probably do more like creator/director inspired podcasts, like with movies or shows or something.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a nice mix.
Yeah, it's
'cause
different.
You get to see their whole body of work, and yeah, I think it's interesting. But if you guys have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, please let us know. Just leave some comments below on the YouTube. If you could do
Smash that like button.
that, please smash the like
Smash
button.
that
Subscribe, unsubscribe, and subscribe again. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace,
All the social medias.
my butt.
So that's the end of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Tweet me.
Bye.